We would not be doing TMS if it hadn't been scientifically proven to work. What does that mean in a medical practice? The first thing that you need to understand is the placebo effect. Most people are familiar with the term. It basically means that if someone is told that they're receiving a treatment, even if they're not actually receiving a treatment, in other words, the famous sugar pill, they might get better. Now, that can work with blood pressure or arthritis pain or whatever. There's what we call the placebo response rate. What percent of people who are given a sugar pill will say, hey, that's good, doc, my knee feels better. In psychiatry, as you might imagine, the placebo effect is extra strong because we're dealing with people's thoughts and feelings, and those are going to be more susceptible to talking yourself into that worked. So when a drug or a medicine is declared or approved by the FDA for the use in humans, it has been shown in a particular kind of scientific study called a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled study, we'll get into that in a second, twice to be better than placebo. So our drug or our treatment, in order to be given to people in a medical practice, has to be better than placebo, and significantly better than placebo, to the point where we have a high degree of confidence that that wasn't just good luck. Because that's the other thing, you can get lucky sometimes, and we don't want that to happen, which is why they ask for a second one. So what they do is they take a large group of people. And you also don't want, the people getting the TMS to be less depressed than the other group of people, or less affluent, or more African American, or whatever, any characteristic that might cause some people to do better with this treatment or that treatment. So they take this large group of people and they randomize them so that you can pretty much expect that there's the same affluence level, the same racial mix, the same gender mix, etc. in both groups. Then they don't tell the subjects who is getting the real treatment or the placebo treatment. In medicines, it's a real pill versus a sugar pill. In a treatment like TMS, it would be real TMS versus sham TMS, which basically means they have a setup that looks just like the TMS device, and maybe it makes noises just like the TMS machine, but it's not actually delivering TMS. And so they don't tell the double-blind part is they don't tell the researchers who's getting the real one and who's not, and they don't tell the subjects who's getting the real one and who's not. So the researchers don't go in and say, so Mr. Jones, how did that treatment work? And so Mrs. Smith, how did that treatment work? So we really want to try to remove all bias from this, and that's the best medicine can do, the double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled study. And TMS has gone through that twice. It's actually gone through that more than twice, but twice in order to get the FDA approval in 2008, and it has been shown to be better than placebo. In fact, it's been shown to be not just a little bit better than placebo, because if it was just a little bit better than placebo, it could still get FDA approval. And there's a lot of things out there in medicine that are like 10% better than placebo, 15% better than placebo. But TMS turns out to be like twice as good as placebo, 3 times as good as placebo in the studies that we've done. Another way of looking at it is what's what we call the response rate. So you take 100 people, what percentage of those people will get better? And then there's another thing that we track, which is called the remission rate. And there, what we're saying is what percent of those people will get all better. So with TMS, what we've seen is that the response rate, 50% better, which is still a fairly high bar. So there's people that are like 40% better that we count as non-responders. So you have to be 50% better in order to be counted as a response. And the response rate there is about 6 out of 10 people, 60%. The remission rate, in other words, I'm fine now, doc, the depression is gone, is about 25 to 30%. Those are actually startlingly good numbers, considering that all of our TMS patients have already failed 3 or more likely 4, or actually on average in our practice more like 6 or 7 antidepressant medication trials. So the odds are not looking good for these people, and then we take them and give them TMS, and more than half of them are getting better, and more than a quarter of them are getting all better. So it's actually been very gratifying to see those kind of results. Our results have completely tracked the research percentages and numbers that we see, and we've been therefore quite happy with it.